Hello, this is Dr. Jones. So I showed in another video how to complete Module 3 Assignment 1 on regression using stock price data with Excel, but not everyone has access to Excel. Some people need to use Google Sheets, and that's perfectly fine. So I want to show how to do this with Google Sheets. And the first thing that you need to remember is, if you haven't watched on Google Sheets, if you haven't watched how to get add-ons for Google Sheets, you need to watch for that and get the add-ons. And which add-ons do you need? You need Open Solver and Excel Minor Analysis Tool Pack. Those are free. You can get those, and they're free for Google Sheets. So if you're having to use Google Sheets, you need those two for assignments in this course, for several assignments. Now, I don't want to actually have to go back and get all of the data that I used before, so I'm going to copy this data that I got for the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to just paste it over here. And there you go. Same data. Now I've just pasted it into Google Sheets. We're going to use that same data right there for doing a regression in Google Sheets. So we'll go up here. We will click on the Excel Minor Analysis Tool Pack, click Start, and it'll start it up here, and we go down to linear regression. Now you need to tell it where, just like we did in Excel, you need to tell it where to get the information. So as we had before, the Y range is what is it we're predicting, and the X range is what is it that we are using to make those predictions. So we just highlight here and click in that box, and it puts the information in there. So we will highlight this again with STE and click in the X range. I want to be sure that we have the labels identified there. And then we need to come over here to place our output. Otherwise it'll throw it up somewhere here. And then we just click that output range, and it says, oh, you said F2. So you highlight, then click in the box. Highlight, click in the box. Highlight, click in the box. And then click on OK. And you will notice that the output that comes out, okay, looks very much like what we got when we did Excel. And I've just opened up this information here to make it easier for you to be able to see. Okay, now we need to highlight J. We'll go back in and highlight the areas that we need in just a moment. But now we're using J information instead of the STE, and you'll notice right here that those numbers changed from the C1 to C54, now to D1 to D54. And then we need to go up and highlight that cell because we don't want it to overwrite what we had up there, and click in, and it changes my destination, and click on OK. And that information's there. Then I need to highlight STE and J together and click in the X range, and you'll notice it made those changes. And then highlight and change, and it changes where my output is, and click on that. Okay, let's go back and see our results. So using just STE, when we highlight this out, we see that we essentially get the same results we got with the Excel spreadsheet. Okay? So take a look at the numbers that come out. 00023 and 000232. Okay, that's close enough. My significance, 0.9136, 0.9136. Same. All right. Now let's go down to, this is for STE. Highlight that, highlight that, highlight J, and highlight this. Now something interesting happens here. Notice as I go down here, my numbers here, 61644, 61644, those are the same things. But my significance here is 3.417 to e to the negative 12. And here it says it's 0. What is that? Well, you remember that I said when you go back to your high school math that e to the negative 12 means you've got to put a lot more zeros in front of this 3, which effectively makes it a 0. 0.0000000003 is basically 0. And that's what Google Sheets says. And if you actually click on that and look at the number here, it says 3147, but to e to the negative 12. It just wrote it here as being 0. And the same thing down here, same number here. So in other words, you got the same result again. It's basically 0 chance of being wrong for this information here. Then we go up here. Highlight those numbers. And what do we get? So it says here that you explain 0.63997, basically 64% of the changes in the S&P 500 explained by the two variables together. And if we go down here, it says same thing. But remember, I'm not doing the R-square, I'm doing the adjusted R-square, okay? That's the one we have to do because we have to, I'm going to go to that, because we have to adjust for the fact that we have two variables now. So it's now 62557, 62557, same thing. Then we get 0 on the significance here, and again, we have the E12, that's basically 0. We have 0.0766, 0.0766, and then we get another 0 down there. So the same story would be told by Google Sheets that's being told by Excel. And what I would do in the same way, I would create for myself a little area to do a written discussion, just like I did. And Google Sheets will do that for us. So I don't have to do a merge and center. It'll automatically do a merge and center for me, effectively do a merge and center for me. And I can just write out my story right here. Now, when I save this, File, and I want to save it, okay? I need to share it or publish it out there. But I can't just save it as a Google, okay? I need to be able to export this out so that I can get it into Excel format, okay? So I'm going to format pardon me, I'm not going to format this out. So I could email it or download it, and I'm going to download it instead as a Microsoft Excel file, and then I can just save that. It says untitled spreadsheet here. I just save that into my data drive, whichever one that I'm using, or I can open it up with Excel and retitle it to M3A1 Jones Stephen with my last name, first name, and it's properly formatted in an Excel format. Okay? That's how you do it, folks, using Google Sheets. Same thing that we did with Excel. Take care.